Welcome to Wife Cheating Story. I hope you have an enjoyable and relaxing time listening. Let's get started.
James stood frozen at the staircase, his heart hammering. The faint laughter drifting from the bedroom above was unmistakable Ashley's, mixed with a man's low voice. He didn't need to see them to know. His instincts had screamed it for weeks, but now, here it was. Betrayal, raw and undeniable. In one swift motion, he reached for his phone, snapping photos through the half-open door. His wife, her lover entangled in a web they thought was invisible. A searing anger took hold. Not now, he told himself, stepping back into the shadows. I'll make them pay, but on my terms. Before we dive into the full story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. And if you're enjoying this tale, don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss any of our upcoming stories. Chapter 1, James stands at the arrival gate in LAX, feeling oddly disoriented by the swirl of bright lights and advertisements for Hollywood studios. He's just stepped off a 14-hour flight from overseas, a secret trip cut short 2 weeks ahead of schedule. His heart pounds with a strange anticipation. Ashley, his wife of 6 years, doesn't know he's coming home yet. For the past month, he's been finishing up a government contract in Eastern Europe for a private defense company, doing engineering checks on specialized drone systems. The job was intense, but the pay is good, and he's proud of the promotion he recently snagged. He expected to be gone a few more weeks. Yet by some stroke of efficiency and a bit of luck, the project concluded early. James decided not to spoil the surprise, no texts or calls. He fantasized about walking in, seeing the look of shock and joy on Ashley's face, maybe sweeping her into a passionate hug. The idea warmed him during the long flight. He has visions of a romantic homecoming, the two of them finally reunited after a month of cryptic phone calls and lonely nights. Now, in the arrivals area, he checks his phone. No messages from Ashley. It's nearly midnight local time, a bit later than expected because his flight got delayed. He shrugs, figuring she's asleep or maybe out with friends, nothing unusual. But there's an undercurrent of tension that he can't quite place. Something about the past few phone calls with Ashley felt off. She'd seemed distracted, quick to end conversations. He'd chalked it up to her new corporate marketing job being hectic. Ashley mentioned a new co-worker, Daniel, who was helping her learn the ropes. She teased that Daniel was like a big brother, ironically. James tried not to feel any jealousy. It's not in his nature to be controlling. Still, the feeling remains like a faint warning siren. He shakes it off as he heads for the taxi stand. The crisp Los Angeles air hits his face. He's tired, but determined. He can't wait to see Ashley's reaction to his unexpected arrival. The drive to their suburban neighborhood on the outskirts of the city is quiet, the taxi driver playing soft jazz on the radio. James gazes out at the twinkling lights of LA's sprawl, mind drifting. His phone buzzes once a ping from his younger sister Brittany, just a random, "Hope you're safe, big bro?" text. He half smiles and replies that he's landed. Brittany doesn't know the entire plan, only that James is coming home a bit early. She's always got his back, especially during times of stress. Soon, the houses grow larger, the streets calmer. They turn onto James's block tree-lined with well-kept lawns. He quietly pays the driver, tip included, and grabs his carry-on. The street lamps cast a gentle glow over the driveway where Ashley's gray sedan is parked. He notes an unfamiliar car on the curb, a sleek black coupe. Odd. Maybe it's a friend of Ashley's. He shrugs. She sometimes hosts her corporate buddies for brainstorming sessions or after-hours wine nights. James sees a few lights on inside. The living room blinds are half shut. He approaches the front door with careful steps, keys in hand. Heart pounding with excitement, he imagines Ashley in pajamas, maybe dozing on the couch. He pictures how she'll squeal when he leans over, kisses her cheek, says, "I'm home." The mere thought makes him grin. But as he slides his key in, turning the lock, a strange flicker of nerves hits. The door opens. He steps into the foyer. The overhead light is dim, maybe they forgot to turn it off. His gaze sweeps the living room. 2 wine glasses on the coffee table, half-empty bottle of Cabernet, and what looks like a man's jacket draped over the couch. James feels a jolt of confusion. That jacket isn't his. Why is it here? He sets his carry-on silently against the wall, instincts telling him to keep quiet. From upstairs, he hears muffled giggles. A male voice, low and intimate. The sound ignites a surge of dread. Ashley doesn't have any male relatives in town, so who the hell is that? This isn't some big dinner party. The house is too still, too personal. James's stomach twists painfully. He creeps toward the staircase, each step feeling heavier than the last. The giggles continue, blending with hushed conversation. He can pick out Ashley's soft laugh, a tone he's heard 1,000 times, but not quite like this. There's a warmth in her voice, a flirtatious undertone that sets his teeth on edge. Another voice murmurs something, and she giggles again, a sound once reserved for private jokes with James. A swirl of contradictory emotions floods him. Shock, anger, heartbreak. He wants to barge in, demand an explanation, throttle the man. But he's also an engineer by training, a methodical thinker. He knows rash action might lead to chaos. He breathes, forcing himself to remain composed. If Ashley is cheating, he'll need proof that leaves no doubt. Blind rage won't help. He climbs halfway up the stairs, gripping the rail so tightly his knuckles whiten. The voices grow clearer. He makes out the man's voice whispering something about how James will never suspect, followed by Ashley's hushed laughter. A primal roar builds in James's throat, but he swallows it, taking the last steps carefully. The bedroom door is cracked open. He sees a soft lamp glow inside. From his vantage point, he glimpses Ashley lying on the bed, wearing a slinky nightgown. The man, shirtless, is leaning over her, their bodies entangled in a moment too intimate to mistake. Daniel. He recognizes the face from the single social media photo Ashley once showed him. The new co-worker. That big brother figure. The liar. The betrayer. James's pulse hammers. He lifts his phone, hand trembling, and snaps a few quick photos through the gap. The phone's on silent mode. No flash. The images show them kissing, her hand around Daniel's neck, his arms cradling her body. The ultimate betrayal right there. James feels nauseated, the heartbreak colliding with a cold fury. He makes a split-second decision not to confront them physically. Some part of him wants to burst in, shout, throw Daniel out a window, demand Ashley explain how she could do this. But a calmer, darker side prevails. If he flips out now, they'll have excuses, denials. He might lose control, become the villain in the narrative. No, I'll do something more devastating. He retreats down the stairs, each step measured so as not to make a sound. He gathers his carry-on, breath ragged. In the foyer, he sees a pair of men's shoes, definitely not his size. The final nail in the coffin. Without a word, he slips outside, shutting the door as quietly as possible. Once in his car, parked around the corner, he grips the steering wheel. His breath comes in shaky gasps. He can't believe it. Ashley, the woman who shared his bed for 6 years, is upstairs with some coworker right now. He feels an eruption of tears, but also a wave of adrenaline. They think they're sneaking around. They have no idea what's coming. He drives off, mind spinning. He finds a cheap motel a few miles away, checks in under a random alias, and collapses onto the stiff bed. Sleep refuses to come. He stares at the ceiling, replaying the scene. Ashley arching her back under Daniel's touch, that intimate laugh she once reserved for James, alone. He clenches his phone. Pictures of them in the act, raw proof. It's like a searing brand on his soul, but he needs it as evidence. He dials Brittany, ignoring the fact it's nearly 2 a.m. She answers groggy. "James, everything okay?" He can't hold back the surge of emotion. "Britt, I just caught Ashley with another man." His voice cracks. "I came home early. Found them in bed." A gasp from Brittany. "Oh my God, James! Where are you now? Are you safe?" "Yeah, I got out of there in a motel. Didn't let them see me. I have photos, Brittany. She's cheating. It's not just in my head." His sister sighs deeply. "I'm so sorry. That's awful. But I'm proud you didn't get violent. That could have gotten messy." James rubs his tired eyes. "I'm furious, but I want to hurt them in a way that lasts. This can't be a simple confrontation." Brittany is silent for a moment, then speaks carefully. "You do what you must, but please keep your cool. I can help with social media or background digging. If you want them ruined, let me know." He exhales. "I might take you up on that. For now, let's keep it quiet. Ashley's been lying for who knows how long. I want to gather more info." Brittany assures him she's on standby. He ends the call, feeling slightly less alone. Night drags on. James doesn't sleep. He flips through old photos on his phone, pictures of him and Ashley from happier times. Vacations, birthdays, an anniversary dinner. The betrayal stings like a raw wound. But overshadowing the pain is a simmering determination. He envisions a scenario where he orchestrates her downfall, destroys Daniel's smug confidence, and emerges victorious. "I am not a victim," he tells himself. "I'm an engineer. I can plan. I can be cunning." In the motel's dim light, he scribbles notes on a pad. Confirm if Ashley has done this before. Investigate Daniel's background. Possibly get a private investigator. Time it so her reputation is impacted at peak moment. Save all evidence meticulously. He sets the pen aside, body trembling with adrenaline. A glance at the clock shows 4:15 a.m. Dawn approaches. Part of him wonders if Ashley's texted or called. He checks his phone, a few missed calls from her around 1 a.m. He replays her first voicemail. "James, where are you? I just got home. I'm worried. Call me, please." He almost laughs. She's lying about "just got home"? The nerve. He deletes them, ignoring further attempts. This is war. By sunrise, James decides to drive to a 24-hour diner. Over a bland cup of coffee and some eggs, he attempts to appear normal. But inside, a storm rages. He sketches a mental blueprint of what must happen next. He'll gather indisputable evidence photos, texts, maybe video. He'll quietly track Ashley's schedule, see how often she meets Daniel. He'll coordinate with his old buddy Christopher, now a private investigator. He'll confirm any vulnerabilities Daniel has, debts, shady deals. He'll plan a dramatic reveal that hits them both socially, financially, and emotionally. He knows it might take weeks, even months. But he's patient when it matters. "They betrayed me in my own bed," he fumes. "They deserve something devastating." Finishing his breakfast, he heads out, phone in hand. He calls Christopher, leaving a cryptic voicemail. "Chris, I need your skill set. Call me ASAP. It's personal." At 8 a.m., James gets a text from Ashley. "James, I'm freaking out. I came home and you're not here. Did something happen to your flight?" Plows respond. He bites back a bitter laugh. The gall of her, pretending ignorance. He refuses to answer, letting her stew. An hour later, another text from Ashley. "I'm calling the airline to see if you missed a connection." Just let me know you're okay. He snorts. She's probably panicking that James might have discovered her secret, or maybe she believes he's simply delayed. Either way, he basks in her anxiety. He drives around aimlessly, eventually booking another cheap motel on the outskirts of the city for a few nights. No need to go home. He doesn't want to tip her off yet. Let her wonder. Let her sweat. By late morning, Christopher calls back, voice concerned. "James, buddy, you sounded urgent. Everything okay?" James fills him in, voice steady, despite the roiling emotions. The early return, the sight of Ashley with Daniel, the photos he snapped. Christopher's reaction is a low whistle. "That's messed up. I'm sorry, man. You sure you want to go scorched earth?" "Hell yes," James growls. "I want them to burn. But I need it done smartly, no slip-ups." Christopher, an ex-military intelligence officer turned PI, agrees to help. "We'll confirm Daniel's background, track his finances, maybe set up discreet surveillance if needed. Then you can deliver the knockout blow at the perfect moment." After hanging up, James stares at the motel's stucco ceiling, mind churning. So it begins. He pictures Ashley waking up in an empty bed, texting, calling, lying about worry. He pictures Daniel smugly thinking he can keep seeing her without consequences. The thought ignites a savage satisfaction in James. They're underestimating me. He decides to call Brittany once more. She picks up immediately, tension in her voice. "Hey, you okay? Did you talk to Ashley yet?" "No," James replies calmly. "Not a word. I need more intel first. Christopher's on board. And Britt, I may need your help with social media sabotage when the time's right." She exhales softly. "I'm in, big bro. Just say the word." He thanks her, appreciating how his sister never judges him for wanting revenge. She understands betrayal. Years ago, her fiancé cheated on her, and James helped her chase him out of town. She knows the sting. Now she's returning the favor, albeit in a bigger, more calculated way. James closes his eyes, exhaustion finally creeping in. The events of the past 12 hours swirl like a nightmare. He replays the moment he saw Daniel's arms around Ashley, the moans and whispers that once belonged only to him. The betrayal forms a lump in his throat. I loved her, he thinks, a flicker of sadness overshadowed by the vow to ruin her illusions. No tears now. He feels the phone in his hand, the photographic proof stored in his camera roll. That's just the beginning, he reminds himself. Soon he'll have more than enough to detonate their worlds. Sighing, he checks the motel door lock once, then finally drifts into a fitful sleep mindset on the grand retribution that looms. Chapter 2. James wakes groggy after barely 3 hours of restless dozing in the cramped motel bed. Golden morning light seeps through the thin curtains. He rubs his eyes, checking his phone. Several new messages from Ashley. "Are you okay?" "I'm worried sick." "Why aren't you answering?" The typical frantic attempts. Also, a missed call from an unknown number, likely her relatives or Daniel himself. No thanks. He calls Christopher right away. "So, how soon can you start digging?" Christopher answers with a confident hum. "I'm already on it. Need you to forward me Daniel's full name, any details you have. Also, if you can get me Ashley's phone logs or email access, that'd help. We'll see if they're sneaking around more often." James smirks. "I know her phone password. She never changed it. I'll see what I can do." He feels a stab of bitterness once. That password was a gesture of trust between them. Now, it's just a gateway to confirm her treachery. He drives to a nearby cafe for breakfast, laptop in tow. Sipping black coffee, he logs into Ashley's personal email. The password is indeed the same. Ashen James forever. The irony stings. He scrolls through her inbox, finding a cluster of messages about a big marketing event next week. A gala, apparently, where her new boss might announce her promotion. He sees Daniel CC'd on half these threads. Then something else draws his eye. A private email chain labeled Work Trip Extended. "We'll miss you, Ashley," from 2 weeks ago. In it, Ashley jokes about how her extra day in Chicago was so worth it, with a winking emoji. One coworker replies, "Lol, we know who you were really with." Another coworker, Amanda, responds teasingly, "Spill the deets, girl." Ashley just answers cryptically, "A woman never tells." James's blood boils. This is a strong hint she might have met Daniel out of town for a fling. So, it's not just a one-time affair. She's been lying for who knows how long. She's painting me like a fool. He decides to screenshot all these messages, saving them to a secure folder on his laptop. He calls Christopher again, reading him some of the messages. Christopher whistles low. "Seems like she's had multiple work trips. We can cross-check flight records. Also, you mentioned a new coworker named Amanda. She might be Ashley's confidant. Could be worth keeping tabs on her, too." James nods. "Yeah, Amanda's name pops up in these email threads a lot. She might know more about Ashley and Daniel's schedule." Christopher hums thoughtfully. "I'll do some recon on Amanda. Meanwhile, if you can locate Daniel's address or phone number, I can start watching his place. Maybe we catch them hooking up again in real time." A twisted satisfaction courses through James. Yes. Let them get comfortable. All right, I'll see if Ashley's phone or cloud has his address. By afternoon, James is parked in a random shopping plaza, browsing Ashley's iCloud data from his laptop. He finds backup logs of her text messages. Sure enough, there's a stream of flirty texts with a contact named D. D. "Miss your touch. Can't wait for next time." Ashley. "Last night was beyond amazing. So glad James is away." D. "We'll meet again soon. Should we risk the house next time?" Ashley. "Better not. Or maybe he'll never suspect James's stomach roils." But he keeps reading, capturing screenshots for evidence. This is gold for building a bulletproof case. He notices a text from Daniel referencing the gala next week, and how they'll celebrate your promotion in style. Another message that says, James is an afterthought. The cruelty stings, fueling James's dark resolve. He calls Christopher once more, voice low with fury. "Dude, these texts are vile. They brag about me being clueless. Daniel wants to celebrate at the gala. I want to blow up their entire facade at that event. Publicly." Christopher's tone is measured. "I'm in. We'll set it up so everyone sees the truth. Just be sure we do it with maximum impact. We'll need more than a quick confrontation." James breathes in. "Agreed, let's gather, step by step." A day passes with James holed up in motels and cafes, refusing to answer Ashley's frantic calls. He wants her unsure if he's missing, injured, or possibly discovered her secret. Meanwhile, he scours Daniel's social media. The guy has a carefully curated LinkedIn, bragging about his marketing acumen, but ironically, very few personal photos. James cross-references public records and finds Daniel's condo in a trendy part of downtown. He shares the address with Christopher. "Check if Ashley shows up. Document everything." Christopher confirms he'll set up a discreet watch, maybe snap some photos if Ashley visits. That night around 10 p.m., Christopher texts, "Bingo. Ashley's car parked outside Daniel's building. Got pics." James stares at the photo. Ashley stepping into Daniel's lobby wearing a tight skirt and a grin. The timestamp is minutes ago. She's obviously not frantically worried about James if she's hooking up with Daniel again. The rage intensifies. They think I'm non-existent. They have no idea. On the third day after discovering the affair, James fakes a short text to Ashley. Got delayed. Checking in soon. She responds instantly with relief. OMG, I was so worried. Please call me. We need to talk. He smirks, ignoring her. This message alone tells him she's lying about fear while sneaking around at Daniel's condo. He calls Brittany, filling her in on the meltdown he's orchestrating. Brittany suggests they time the big reveal with Ashley's expected promotion at the upcoming marketing gala. That's her peak moment, right? If you want maximum humiliation, do it then. James nods. Exactly. I'll be there playing the supportive husband, then bam, unleash everything. Brittany offers her digital sabotage. I can schedule some social media posts that drop receipts at the same moment you make your move. Let's ensure the entire office sees Ashley's true colors. James's adrenaline spikes. Yes, let's do it. Christopher calls with updates on Daniel's background check. He's loaded up on credit card debt, apparently leasing that fancy coupe. Possibly has other side flings some financial trouble. This is good leverage if we need a second angle of attack. James considers. Daniel wants to impress Ashley with a wealthy image, but it's all smoke. If I push the right buttons, maybe that house of cards collapses too. He envisions a scenario. Daniel's job threatened by scandal, credit lines collapsing, all while the affair becomes public knowledge. He wants Daniel to lose everything. He's done letting the other man walk away scot-free. Ashley, desperate for contact, leaves a tearful voicemail on James's phone that night. I'm so scared, James. This isn't like you. Please, if something happened, talk to me. I love you. Call me. He listens with an empty heart. The phrase, I love you, rings hollow now. She's in bed with Daniel one night, crying about her missing husband the next. The hypocrisy is staggering. He doesn't respond. Instead, he logs back into her iCloud and sees a new message chain with Amanda. Ashley confides, I'm freaking out. James still isn't home. He could be hurt, or he might know about me and Dee. What do I do? Amanda tries calming her, suggesting, wait, keep lying. He's probably just delayed. No biggie. The conversation cements Amanda's role as a partial accomplice. James files that away for future reference. Over the next few days, James quietly prepares. He invests in a crisp new suit, ironically one Ashley helped pick out months ago. He wants to look every bit the supportive spouse at her marketing gala. He arranges with Brittany a timed release of photos and chat logs on social media. They plan it so, halfway through the event, phones will light up with scandalous content, all pointing to Ashley and Daniel's affair. Christopher secures a small handheld projector and laptop. If needed, James can instantly display the incriminating hotel footage. Christopher previously orchestrated a fake conference that lured them for hidden camera evidence. The stage is set for a catastrophic reveal. The night before the gala, James stares at an old wedding photo. Ashley in a white gown, him in a tux, both smiling with genuine love. He feels a surge of anger at how she threw it away for a cheap fling. Was it boredom? He wonders if there was anything he could have done differently. Then he steels himself, reminding that she crossed a line. She broke vows, humiliated him, and let Daniel mock him in his own home. He sets the photo down. Tomorrow, he'll execute the first major blow in a carefully orchestrated plan. They want to flaunt their affair behind his back. He'll strip away every layer of their facade. He imagines the moment. Ashley stepping up to announce her big promotion. Then the entire room sees her betrayal in full color. A harsh yet fitting lesson. He kills the lamp, lying in bed with a stoic calm. The heartbreak remains, but overshadowed by a savage satisfaction. Tomorrow, Ashley and Daniel step into the ring with him, unknowing. By the end of that gala, they'll have no illusions left. I will never be that naive husband again, he thinks. I am James, and I'm about to show them the cost of betrayal. Chapter 3. It's Gala Day. The luxurious ballroom at a downtown hotel bustles with well-dressed marketing professionals. Waiters circulate with trays of champagne flutes, and a small band plays jazzy tunes near the stage. The atmosphere exudes corporate ambition smiles, networking, polite laughter. James stands near the entrance in his tailored suit, scanning the crowd with cool detachment. He spots Ashley across the room, wearing a sleek evening gown that accentuates her figure. She's all polished confidence, chatting up a senior executive. Daniel hovers nearby, sipping a drink with smug self-assurance. They occasionally exchange secretive glances, thinking they're subtle. James fights the urge to roll his eyes. They have no idea I'm about to blow this wide open. James plays the role of supportive spouse. He steps forward, greeting Ashley with a cordial hug. She stiffens momentarily, eyes wide with shock. "James, where have you been?" she whispers, forcing a smile for the sake of onlookers. He gives her a measured grin. "Got delayed. Didn't you get my text?" "I'm here now, honey." He makes sure to emphasize honey in a slightly mocking tone only she would notice. She tries to read his expression, but he's a master of composure tonight. Daniel steps closer, extending a hand. "James, buddy, good to finally see you. Ashley said you were traveling. Everything okay?" James shakes Daniel's hand, noting the sweaty palm. "Yeah, all good. You must be Daniel. I've heard so much about your marketing expertise." That line drips with sarcasm, but Daniel just nods, clueless. Brittany is in the crowd too, disguised as just another attendee, hair styled elegantly. She's armed with her phone, prepared to release the scheduled social media bomb at the exact time James gives the signal. They exchange a subtle nod. She winks, indicating everything's set. Christopher is somewhere backstage, having finagled a security staff role. He's arranged hidden mini-cameras near the stage, plus he's queued a laptop that can instantly broadcast the incriminating footage onto the Gala's main screen if James chooses that route. The evening unfolds in typical Corporate Gala fashion. Speeches about quarterly results, a charity auction, some hype about new leadership roles. Ashley's boss, a sharp-dressed VP named Margaret, hints that a special announcement is coming soon. Ashley glows with anticipation, assuming it's her official promotion. Daniel sticks close, occasionally placing a hand on her arm. They think James is none the wiser, but he's documenting every smirk, every stolen touch. While mingling, James overhears snippets. Amanda hissing to Ashley, "We need to talk about those rumors, girl. People keep giving me weird looks." Ashley replying, "Ignore it. Probably nonsense." James smirks inwardly. Nonsense, until it hits them full blast. Finally, the host calls the room to attention. The stage lights brighten, the small band quiets. Margaret steps up to the podium, microphone in hand. She thanks everyone for coming, brags about the marketing department's achievements, and specifically praises Ashley for spearheading certain campaigns. The crowd applauds politely, with Daniel giving a thumbs up from the front row. Ashley stands by, beaming. Margaret leans forward. "Now it's my great pleasure to announce an internal promotion. Ashley, would you join me?" She beckons. Ashley strides on stage, turning to flash James a triumphant smile as if to say, "See? I'm unstoppable." Daniel winks at her. Margaret continues. "This year, we've seen incredible growth. Ashley has shown leadership, creativity, and a relentless drive to succeed. So, effective next month, she'll be the new regional marketing director." Applause erupts. The band strikes a quick celebratory chord. Ashley flushes with excitement, stepping to the mic for her acceptance speech. James stands at the side, arms folded. His phone screen shows a text from Brittany. "Ready when you are?" He glances at the stage, sees Ashley soaking up the applause, Daniel looking smug, co-workers politely clapping. Perfect timing. Ashley begins, "Thank you, everyone, I'm honored," and James raises a hand. "Pardon me, Margaret. May I say a few words?" The crowd turns, a bit puzzled. Ashley's smile falters slightly, confusion crossing her face. Margaret, caught off guard, shrugs. "Of course, James." She hands him the mic. Stepping into the spotlight, James speaks in a calm, resonant voice. "I'd like to congratulate my wife Ashley on her new position. She's definitely worked tirelessly for it." A few chuckles. Some who know him think it's just a sweet gesture. He looks at Ashley with feigned warmth. He continues, "In fact, I'd like to show a short video tribute to Ashley's dedication. I prepared something special. I hope it's okay to share?" The audience murmurs, intrigued. Ashley's brow furrows. Sure, honey," she says uncertainly, glancing at Daniel, who looks uneasy. James signals with a subtle nod to Christopher, stationed off stage. The overhead screens flicker from the corporate logo to a black screen. Then, the video plays. At first, it shows a few innocent photos of Ashley at prior work events. Everyone smiles politely. Ashley exhales, relieved for a second. But after 10 seconds, the video cuts abruptly to a hidden camera clip in a dimly lit hotel suite. The shot is grainy but unmistakable. Ashley entering, followed by Daniel, them embracing, kissing. The entire room gasps. Some co-workers blink in disbelief, a hush falling over the crowd. Ashley's eyes widen, face draining of color. "What, James? What is this?" she stammers into the mic. The video continues. Daniel's voice audible. "Can't wait for next time. James'll never suspect." The audience collectively inhales. Panic ripples through the crowd. People whip out phones, filming or texting. Daniel leaps from his seat, yelling, "Turn that off!" He rushes to the stage. Security blocks him. Ashley tries to kill the screen feed, but Christopher is controlling it from a locked station. Brittany, at the back of the room, hits enter, unleashing the scheduled social media posts. Instantly, people's phones buzz with scandalous images, Ashley and Daniel in more explicit poses, chat logs referencing the affair, all curated by James. Ashley clutches the podium, tears welling up, horror written across her face. Some people stand, outraged or mortified. The band stops playing. Margaret looks furious, shooting daggers at Ashley for humiliating the company. James calmly addresses the stunned audience. "You see, my dear wife and her co-worker Daniel have been collaborating outside of normal office hours. I discovered it. Apologies if this overshadowed the gala, but honesty matters, right?" He glances at Ashley, who's trembling, mascara streaking as tears roll. He sets the mic down with finality. "Congratulations on your promotion, Ashley. I'm sure the company will be thrilled to see your moral standards." With that, he turns and walks off stage, ignoring Daniel's sputtered threats and Ashley's choked pleas. The crowd is in an uproar, some scandalized, some filming, others feeling secondhand shock. Security rushes forward, but James is already gone, slipping out a side exit. He can still hear the chaotic echoes inside. Ashley crying, Daniel cursing, colleagues whispering in scandalized tones. The meltdown is total. Chapter 4. James steps into the crisp night air behind the hotel, heart pounding. He'd expected to feel triumphant, but instead there's a calm emptiness. Maybe it's the adrenaline crash. Either way, the bomb's been dropped. He glances at his phone. A flood of texts from unknown numbers, presumably co-workers or acquaintances who witnessed the epic display. He deletes them, uninterested in reading the immediate gossip. He spots Brittany stepping out a side entrance, face flushed with excitement. "Holy crap, James, that was insane. The entire room freaked out." She gives a half laugh. "Ashley looked like she might faint." He nods, exhaling. "And Daniel?" She smirks. Security pinned him when he tried to snatch the mic. He was shouting about lawsuits or some nonsense, but no one was listening. Management is furious. Margaret basically disowned Ashley on the spot. Perfect execution, big bro. They walk to the parking garage, where Christopher awaits them by a black SUV. He's stashing away the laptop and projector used for the grand reveal. "Nice job," he tells James, handing him a flash drive. "That's everything, including the footage from the hidden cameras, just in case they try to claim it was doctored." James pockets the drive, expression grim but satisfied. "Appreciate it, Chris. You nailed your part." He glances at Brittany. "Now for the fallout. You posted all the evidence, right?" She nods. "Yep. Social media's ablaze with screenshots of their texts. People are retweeting it. We have anonymous forums linking Daniel's name to multiple affairs. Some folks are calling Ashley the new corporate homewrecker." "It's ugly, but that's the point." James nods, leaning on the SUV. They deserve every bit of it. James takes a moment to check missed calls. 12 from Ashley, a few from Daniel's number, and 1 from Amanda. He snorts at Daniel's messages. "You better lawyer up, asshole!" Or, "We'll make you pay for humiliating us." Idle threats. He's not worried. He taps Christopher's shoulder. "If Daniel tries anything physical, let me know. I don't mind pressing charges if he crosses a line." Christopher grins. He's all bark, no bite. But I'll keep watch. Meanwhile, inside the hotel, the chaos continues. By some accounts, Ashley is cornered by senior execs, demanding an explanation. She can't form a coherent defense. Daniel tries spinning a story that James hacked them illegally, threatening a lawsuit, but nobody's buying it. The affair is plain to see. Amanda stands in a corner, mortified, checking her phone as new rumors swirl about her potential knowledge. She's spooked, worried about being dragged into the fiasco. James imagines the scene with a small thrill of satisfaction. A part of him wonders if he should feel pity, but every time he recalls that night he came home early to see them entwined, pity evaporates. They deserve this public downfall. Christopher drives them away from the hotel, heading to a quiet bar downtown for a post-operation debrief. The mood in the car is oddly jubilant. Brittany recaps the expressions she saw on co-workers' faces, how gasps turned to shock, how half the phones lit up with the new scandalous posts right as James played the video. "You couldn't script it better," she giggles. James musters a grin. "Yeah, it was exactly how I pictured. Now it's up to them to face the consequences." They arrive at the bar, a low-key spot with dim lighting. Inside, they find a corner booth. Christopher orders beers for them. The tension unravels into a sense of mission accomplished. James sips quietly, letting the adrenaline subside. After a few moments, Brittany leans forward, concern edging her tone. "So how are you really feeling, James? You got your revenge, but you also lost a marriage in the process." He takes a breath. "I won't lie. It hurts. But that marriage was a lie from the moment she let Daniel into our bed. I needed to show her and him that I'm not some gullible husband they can trample on." She nods, patting his hand. "I get it. Just promise you won't bury yourself in anger forever. Eventually, you might need to heal. Maybe talk to someone." He shrugs. "One step at a time." Christopher checks his phone. "Word from my inside contact. Ashley tried to salvage her promotion. The executives told her to take an immediate leave of absence, effectively suspending her. Daniel got physically escorted out. HR is launching an investigation. They might both be fired by morning." James meets Brittany's eyes. "We said we'd destroy them. Looks like we have." He feels a flicker of satisfaction. This is the meltdown Ashley and Daniel never saw coming. Brittany asks, "Any chance you'll talk to Ashley directly? She's probably going to blow up your phone for an apology." James stares at his beer. swirling the amber liquid. I don't see the point. She made her bed. I'd just hear lies or excuses. I'd rather let her stew in humiliation. Christopher raises his bottle. Here's to never letting cheaters off easy. They clink bottles, a subdued toast to final retribution. As midnight nears, James returns alone to the modest Airbnb he rented for the night, not wanting to sleep in a motel again. The small, sparsely furnished apartment feels empty, but it's a sanctuary away from the memories of Ashley's betrayal. He stands by the window, phone in hand, scanning the new barrage of texts from unknown numbers, a co-worker of Ashley's. So sorry, we had no idea. That was wild. Are you okay? Another. Bro, that took guts. They deserved it. He shuts off the phone, dropping onto the couch. A swirl of conflicting feelings hits him. Relief, sadness, triumph, heartbreak. He pictures Ashley's tears on stage, the shock in Daniel's eyes. It's done, but does it fix the pain? At least they won't strut around unpunished, he reassures himself. He dozes off, drifting into restless dreams. In them, he replays the moment he found Ashley in bed with Daniel. Except in the dream, he confronts them physically. Chaos ensues. He wakes in a slight panic, realizing the quiet approach was indeed the smarter path. He's preserved his dignity and unleashed maximum destruction without tarnishing his own moral standing. Staring at the ceiling, he thinks, Act 1 is complete. There might be more fallout, job losses, financial collapse for Daniel, social ostracism for Ashley. He's ready to see them unravel. He feels no guilt. She forced his hand. He's simply returning the betrayal with interest. He closes his eyes again, a small, cold smile forming. This is only the beginning of their downfall. With Christopher's help, Brittany's digital skills, and the unstoppable avalanche of public scorn, Ashley and Daniel will soon taste the full measure of James's revenge. Chapter 5. Dawn breaks on the morning after the catastrophic gala. James stands at the window of a modest Airbnb he rented last minute to avoid returning to his marital home. Rays of sunrise pierce the blinds, illuminating dust motes in the otherwise still room. He's been awake for hours, replaying the previous night's events. The hush that fell when he grabbed the microphone, the stunned faces as the damning video unspooled on screen, the mixture of shock and revulsion that gripped the entire crowd. It all culminated in Ashley stumbling off the stage in tears and Daniel raging in helpless fury. A swirl of emotions churns inside him, gratification, sorrow, and a lingering adrenaline. Part of him can't believe he actually did it. Another part insists it was necessary, that they deserved no less for the brazen betrayal. There's a hollowness, too, where love and trust used to reside. That emptiness keeps him from fully celebrating. He rubs his temples, mind drifting to how the meltdown must have escalated after he left. He imagines Ashley frantically trying to salvage face in front of her superiors, Daniel cursing him with empty threats. Meanwhile, the entire marketing department probably spent the night gossiping, rewatching the scandalous footage, bombarded with the timed social media blasts. They're choking on the truth now, he muses, a cold satisfaction flickering. His phone pings with a text from Brittany. Rise and shine, big bro. I got 1,000,000 DMs about last night holy meltdown. You good? He types back a quick response. Still breathing. We did what we had to. Thanks for the help. Another text from Christopher comes in moments later. Hit me up when you're ready. Got more intel about Daniel's meltdown. James sets the phone aside, exhaling. So it begins. The fallout. The next phase of retribution. He showers, dresses in casual jeans and a gray t-shirt, then heads out to grab coffee at a nearby cafe. The crisp air feels cleansing on his skin. He checks the news on his phone, no mainstream coverage of the scandal yet, but local corporate circles are abuzz on certain forums. One post on a business gossip board says, "Major marketing gala goes off the rails, affair exposed in real time." People are speculating about Ashley's immediate job status. Some mention Daniel's rumored track record of flirting with married co-workers. The chatter is savage, with many mocking the power couple who turned out to be a pair of adulterous fools. Sipping coffee, James scrolls through more posts. Some anonymous commenter writes, "The husband must be a savage to pull off that stunt. Respect." Another says, "Cheaters deserve no mercy, kudos to him." He feels a momentary surge of validation. Yet, he also wonders if any post questions his own morality in humiliating them so publicly. A few do, but they're drowned out by the schadenfreude from those who relish seeing arrogant cheaters fall. He finishes the coffee, deciding to phone Christopher. The ex-military PI picks up on the first ring. "Morning, James. Quite the fireworks last night." "Got that right," James replies. "You said you had more news." Christopher chuckles. "Word is, Daniel got physically escorted out of the event. He tried to fight a security guard. Management's furious he's probably fired. He also had a meltdown at his condo. Neighbors heard him yelling. Something about you ruining his life." James smirks. "He ruined his own life. I just helped him face the consequences." He arranges to meet Christopher and Brittany at a quiet diner to debrief. The siblings arrive first, grabbing a corner booth. Brittany's eyes sparkle with a mix of concern and excitement. "Dude, last night was insane. My phone wouldn't stop with DMs and pings. Everyone at the gala was either horrified or enthralled." James runs a hand through his hair. "I can imagine. Ashley tried calling me 1,000,000 times?" She nods vigorously. "Yeah, me too. She tried calling me screaming about how we set her up, how you're out of control. I blocked her, not my problem." Brittany shrugs. "She's basically persona non grata at her office now. You humiliated her in front of all the top execs." James exhales, a part of him stinging at the memory of Ashley's tear-streaked face. But he steels himself. No remorse. "Good. She earned it. Let her deal with the repercussions." Christopher slides into the booth, ordering black coffee from the passing waitress. "So, any chance you want to push further? Because there's more we can do. Daniel's finances are shaky. We could push a few buttons to accelerate his downfall." Brittany arches an eyebrow. "You mean messing with his credit lines?" Christopher nods. "We got enough data from his personal records. Some big charges, high interest. One nudge, and the lenders might spike his rates or call in debts. He'll be drowning." James contemplates. "Part of me says we've done enough, his career is likely toast. But another part says, let's ensure he can't bounce back easily. He mocked me, disrespected me in my own home." He sighs. "Let's do it. If you can expedite his financial collapse, I want him feeling the pain fully." They finalize details. Christopher will feed certain revelations to Daniel's creditors, hinting that he's a high risk. Brittany will continue fueling rumors about Daniel's unprofessional conduct across social media. Meanwhile, James is determined to stay calm and watch from a distance. He's not about to stoop to petty harassment. Everything must be strategic, almost surgical in its precision. After the meeting, Brittany heads to her day job in a social media firm. Chris goes off to initiate the next steps. James meanders around the city, pondering his next move. Do I go home? The thought disgusts him. He doesn't want to see Ashley rummaging through the wreckage of last night's fiasco. Let her wonder if he'll ever show up again. He calls a lawyer friend, Ethan, just to get a preliminary sense of divorce proceedings. Ethan hears the gist of the story and whistles. Man, that's brutal. If you want to file for divorce citing adultery, you've got more than enough proof. You might also consider if you want to push for spousal support denial or even emotional distress claims. But it might get messy. James's voice is steely. She's already made it messy by screwing another man in my bed. I just want to ensure I come out unscathed financially. Ethan agrees to set up a formal consultation soon. James ends the call, a wave of resolve settling in. Yes, the marriage is beyond repair. It died the night I caught them. That afternoon, alone in his Airbnb, James does the unthinkable. He briefly listens to one of Ashley's voicemails. Her voice, broken and shaking. James, please talk to me. I'm sorry, I messed up. I was drunk. I was lonely. Let's fix this. I don't want to lose you. She sobs. He stops playing it halfway through. Drunk, lonely, cheap excuses. He flicks off the phone, refusing to let guilt seep in. She only regrets being exposed, not the betrayal itself. He's certain she'd still be sneaking around with Daniel if he hadn't come home early. Another part of him wonders how the house looks now, wine stains, rummaged drawers, or maybe Ashley is weeping in the living room. He pushes the thought away, refocusing on the next stage of his revenge. He calls Christopher again. Have you heard from your contact at their office? Did Ashley lose her promotion? Christopher hums. Confirmed. They didn't officially fire her yet, but she's suspended, pending an internal HR review. Daniel is basically gone, he's out. Rumor has it Ashley's father is furious too, since he's a shareholder in some related venture. It's chaotic. James closes his eyes, letting the swirl of retribution wash over him. Good. Let them squirm. The next day, he finally musters the courage to step near his house, but only from a distance. He parks across the street, sees Ashley's car in the driveway. Another unfamiliar car is there too, maybe Amanda's or some relative's. He watches for a half hour, sees no sign of Daniel. Fine. He's probably licking his wounds elsewhere. A text from Brittany. You want me to do deeper digs into Ashley's prior affairs? Christopher found hints she might have cheated before Daniel. James exhales sharply, a fresh wave of bitterness. She might be a serial cheater. He texts back, yes. If she's done this before, I want to know. No secrets left uncovered. He can't help feeling a tightness in his chest. For years, he believed she was loyal. If this was a pattern, it means she's been deceiving him far longer than he realized. That stings in a different way, like the entire marriage was a lie. By midweek, Christopher sends a coded message. Operation Loan Crash is underway. Daniel's interest rates just jumped. He's near default. Gonna watch the meltdown. James grins grimly. That means Daniel's financial spiral will accelerate. Possibly eviction looms. He wonders if Daniel will blame Ashley or if they'll blame each other. That's a bonus. No support system left for either. James imagines the phone call they might share. This is your fault. You didn't hide it better. Or, you manipulated me. He relishes the idea that their so-called romance is turning toxic. A few nights later, Brittany calls him with an excited tone. I found something major in Ashley's old social media backups, like from years ago. She had a fling with some ex-boyfriend while you two were dating, before you even got engaged. It was short-lived, but yeah, she cheated back then too. James's pulse spikes with anger. So she was never faithful? Damn. He rakes a hand through his hair. I guess that cements that she's always been untrustworthy. Brittany sighs. I'm sorry, bro, that has to hurt. But hey, it means she's done you a favor exposing her true nature. He sets his jaw. I appreciate you confirming it. No illusions left. A twinge of heartbreak lingers, but it's overshadowed by a cold finality. This woman was never truly mine. He decides not to confront Ashley about the older fling. The current revenge plan suffices. but he logs the info as extra justification for divorcing her. Perhaps the day of the official filing, he'll bring every shred of betrayal to the table, ensuring no judge sympathizes with her. Meanwhile, a flurry of texts from acquaintances, a coworker. "Dude, I support you. Ashley was always acting flirty, now it's out in the open." Another. "Sorry for your pain, but that was savage. Let's grab a beer sometime." James politely thanks them, yet he's not eager to socialize. He remains laser-focused on finishing this meltdown. Amanda unexpectedly calls, probably got James's number from an old group chat. He picks up out of curiosity. She starts in a hushed tone. "James, I'm sorry about everything. I never wanted to see you hurt. I told Ashley to be careful, but she..." He cuts her off. "Spare me. You knew. You covered for her. Don't act innocent." Amanda's voice trembles. "I just wanted to keep my job, not get involved. She's my friend, or was. This has gone nuclear, and now HR's questioning me too. Please, can you just say I wasn't involved?" James's bitterness flares. "You contributed to the deception. Suffer your consequences. I owe you nothing." She sniffles. "Daniel told me hush details, but I never used them. I have kids, James. I can't lose my job." He exhales, conflicted. He doesn't relish punishing a bystander, but she's not entirely innocent. "Stay out of my way, Amanda. Don't try to spin any narrative. If you do, I'll bury you too. Understood?" A shaky yes from her end. He ends the call, feeling a flicker of guilt but telling himself she aided Ashley's lies. He's not about to show mercy for minimal complicity. Chapter 6. A week has passed since the Gala explosion. Ashley has gone silent after a barrage of unanswered calls and texts. James hears through the grapevine that she's on indefinite suspension from work. Some say she's holed up at her parents' house, though rumor has it even they're disgusted by her scandal. Daniel, on the other hand, has essentially fallen off the professional map. Christopher's intel suggests he was summarily fired for violating the company's ethics. Combine that with the catastrophic blow to his reputation, no marketing firm in the region wants to hire a man whose name is tied to a lurid corporate scandal. He's also drowning in debt, facing threats from loan providers. Christopher even mentions a possible eviction from his downtown condo. James feels a cold satisfaction. The wrecking ball he unleashed is doing its job. But there's more. He wants to ensure no easy escape for either. He schedules a meeting with his attorney friend, Ethan, to discuss officially filing for divorce. They meet in a tidy downtown office, the smell of fresh coffee and leather-bound legal texts around them. Ethan leans back in his chair, studying James's stoic expression. "So, you have overwhelming evidence of Ashley's adultery, correct?" Ethan says, flipping through some printouts James provided screenshots, partial text logs. "In many states, that can expedite certain aspects of the divorce, especially if you want to argue she should get minimal alimony." James nods. "I definitely want minimal or no spousal support. She was the primary earner for a while, but that changed when I got my promotion. Actually, we're near equal incomes. Or we were until she got suspended. Either way, I refuse to let her drag me into paying for her betrayal." Ethan scribbles notes. "We can do that. Also, if we prove marital misconduct, that might sway the judge in your favor regarding property division. You two have a house joint savings?" James shrugs. "Yes. But I'd happily let the house go if it means she's saddled with the mortgage. I can start fresh. My main concern is not letting her get a dime more than she deserves." Ethan nods grimly. "Understood. I'll draw up the papers this week. We'll serve her as soon as possible." Leaving the law office, James feels a sense of finality creeping in. This divorce is the last nail in Ashley's illusions. She'll face personal ruin, professional ruin, and now a legal severance from him. The man she thought was a naive spouse turned into her worst nightmare. He's not gloating exactly, but there's no sympathy left. He calls Brittany on the drive back. "We're filing. Just a heads up. If Ashley calls you, direct her to my lawyer." Brittany whistles. "It's about time. You okay emotionally?" James is quiet a moment. "I'll manage. This is the logical next step. She earned it. I can't stay married to a cheater. End of story." That evening, he camps in the Airbnb again. Scrolling through Ashley's iCloud logs, he notices fewer fresh messages. Possibly she's changed some passwords, or maybe she's too preoccupied to chat. He does see an email from her father, scolding her for the disgrace, threatening to cut financial support. Another from Amanda, offering half-hearted moral support. None from Daniel, maybe they're not even speaking. He wonders if he should talk to her father. They were never super close, but the man always seemed decent. Yet James decides it's not his responsibility. Let them handle their family meltdown. He has no interest in bridging that gap. Suddenly a text from Christopher. "Daniel tried to reach me, ironically. He wants a meeting, says he'll pay for info on how to fix his situation. Obviously I said no, but interesting." James's brow furrows. Why would Daniel contact Christopher? Perhaps he suspects Christopher arranged the video setup. He texts back, "Ignore him, he's desperate." A moment later, Christopher replies, "Yes, that was my plan. Just letting you know. He's unraveling." James can practically see the man's life collapsing, jobless, in debt, blacklisted from local marketing circles. A small grin tugs at his lips. He deserves every bit. The next day, he receives a call from a blocked number. Curious, he answers. It's Ashley's mother, sounding tense. "James, dear, we must talk. This fiasco is tearing Ashley apart. She's crying every day. Could you please see her, at least for closure?" His jaw clenches. Closure? She had closure the moment I revealed her cheating publicly. We're done. Her mother pleads, "I know she hurt you, but you two built a life. Maybe you can find forgiveness or at least end this quietly. My husband is furious, wants to disown her. She's living off scraps right now." James's heart hardens. I'm sorry she's suffering, but that's on her. I have no interest in reconciliation. Tell her to wait for the divorce papers. He ends the call, ignoring the mother's last attempt to speak. He meets up with Brittany for lunch at a casual bistro. They chat about random life stuff for a while, her own job, a possible promotion. Eventually, the conversation returns to the revenge saga. She shows him a fresh rumor. Daniel apparently tried applying to a smaller marketing agency. Word got around. They refused to even interview him. The scandal might follow him for years. James looks at his sister. I used to wonder if I was overreacting, but after seeing how brazen they were, I feel justified. Brittany sips her iced tea. You're definitely justified. They cheated in your bed, flaunting it. I see no pity. Just be careful not to let revenge define you forever. Eventually, you'll want to move on, find someone loyal. He nods, quiet for a moment. True, but not yet. I need to see this through. The divorce, Daniel's downfall, Ashley's professional demise. Then I can move on. She squeezes his hand, supportive. A text from Ethan arrives mid-lunch. Filing official divorce petition tomorrow. We can hire a process server to deliver the summons to Ashley. James answers. Do it. Let's get this rolling. Brittany arches an eyebrow, reading the tension on his face. All good? He nods. Yeah, the train has left the station. That night, he sits at the small desk in his Airbnb, drafting a personal statement for the divorce. He outlines Ashley's repeated adultery, referencing the date he found her with Daniel, plus all the textual evidence. As he compiles it, a sense of closure creeps in. This is real. I'm ending our marriage. The next morning, while grabbing coffee, James glances at local news. The marketing firm Ashley worked for issues a short statement about unprofessional conduct by certain staff at a recent event, noting the individuals are suspended pending an investigation. A follow-up gossip site claims Ashley was the likely star in that scandal, though not naming her outright. They mention footage of extramarital involvement was displayed. The comment section is brutal, tearing her down, mocking Daniel. Some folks speculate James might face defamation suits, but most see it as legitimate evidence of a known affair. He shrugs at the idea of defamation. There's no defamation if it's true, and it's definitely true. Ethan's text arrives. We served Ashley the divorce papers. She got them this morning at her parents' address. Her father accepted them on her behalf. Expect drama. James sighs, imagining the meltdown. He wonders if she'll call. Sure enough, his phone buzzes hours later Ashley's number. He stares at it, deciding whether to answer. This time, something in him says to pick up, see what she has to say. With a deep breath, he answers. The first words he hears are sobs, Ashley's voice trembling. James, I just got the papers. Please, can we talk? This is so final. He steels himself. It is final, Ashley. You gave me no reason to stay. After what you did multiple times, I can't remain married to a cheater. She chokes on her tears, trying to speak. I know I messed up. Daniel meant nothing. I was lonely. You were always away. He interrupts cold. Stop blaming my job. You lied in my face. You brought him into our bed. Did you think I'd ever forgive that? She pleads. I'm begging you not to finalize this. I'll do counseling, anything. He sighs, a weary anger spiking. You wanted me out of the way. You bragged that I'd never suspect. Now you want pity? She's silent, sobbing quietly. Ashley, sign the papers. This is done. He ends the call, hearing her frantic, wait, vanish into the dial tone. Chapter 7. A few days later, the legal wheels turn swiftly. Ashley signs the divorce summons under protest, scrawling her signature with shaky hands. Her father, humiliated by the public disgrace, refuses to bankroll her defense. She must rely on a modest personal fund. Meanwhile, the company's HR panel rules her behavior gross misconduct, effectively firing her. The official announcement is couched in corporate jargon about breach of ethical standards, but everyone knows it's because of the scandal. Daniel faces a near-identical fate, but with added woes. Rumor says he's defaulting on loans, getting eviction notices, possibly racking up legal fees if he tries to fight any of this in court. James remains informed through Christopher's channels, gleaning more glimpses of their unraveling. James's main focus now is finalizing the divorce and ensuring minimal financial impact on himself. He meets with Ethan again. Is there any chance Ashley could push for alimony or half the assets? She lost her job, so Ethan interjects. Given she was fired for an affair that compromised the company and you have proof of multiple adulteries, plus no kids involved, the judge likely sides with you. You might owe her a settlement if the house is in both your names, but it won't be half your net worth. James nods, relieved. I'd rather let her keep the house if it means I get out clean. She can pay the mortgage alone or sell it if she wants. Ethan shrugs. She might not afford the mortgage now, though. Expect a short sale or something. But that's her problem. Meanwhile, Amanda tries to keep her head down at the marketing firm. But rumors swirl that she was complicit, knowing about Ashley and Daniel all along. She's overshadowed by the bigger scandal, but she's definitely on management's radar. One day, James receives a frantic text from Amanda. They're transferring me to a smaller branch. I might lose my job next. Are you sure you want me to suffer? I never did anything directly to you. He considers replying, then decides a short response is enough. You covered for her. Actions have consequences. He hits send. Let her stew. Brittany calls him, voice brimming with curiosity. So you're basically unstoppable now. Any regrets at all? You hammered them. James leans against a park railing, gazing at a small lake. Sometimes I feel a pang of sorrow. Ashley was my wife once, but every memory of that night, finding them together, reminds me why I did this. They showed zero respect. So no, I don't regret it. Brittany softens. As long as you're not letting it consume you, you'll get through the pain eventually. Maybe meet someone honest down the line. He gives a hollow chuckle. One day, sure. For now, I'm busy with my job, sorting finances, staying at the Airbnb. I might relocate entirely after the divorce. She encourages him, offering a place to stay if needed. He thanks her, appreciating that sibling bond in his darkest hour. James delves deeper into his defense contractor work. He's up for another major project that could send him overseas again. Part of him welcomes the distraction. Another part wonders if leaving the country would signal running away. But he decides if an overseas assignment arises, he'll take it, confident in the stability of the situation at home. Ashley can't cling to him for spousal support if he's gone, and no one can accuse him of deserting the marriage when he has legal grounds for divorce. He also contemplates disclaiming any joint account with Ashley, ensuring she can't drain him. He meets with the bank to freeze or remove her from certain lines. The bank manager, a friend from high school, quietly sympathizes with James's predicament. James leaves, feeling more secure. A random Sunday, James drives by the old house, curiosity gnawing at him. The lawn looks unkempt, a sign pinned to the door about missed utilities. No sign of Ashley's car. Possibly she's staying with her parents. He parks momentarily, remembering the day he moved in with Ashley, full of hopes for a life of shared dreams. The betrayal rendered all those memories hollow. He snaps a photo of the house for sale notice on the yard, a wave of finality coursing through him. We built that home, and she defiled it. Good riddance. He texts the photo to Brittany with a single caption. She's losing the house. Brittany responds with a sad face emoji, plus, she destroyed everything. Christopher calls with an update on Daniel. He's practically living out of his car, from what I hear. Landlord kicked him out. Credit card companies won't negotiate because we flagged him as high risk. A few collectors might be on his tail. He's apparently tried calling Ashley for help. She ignores him. They're turning on each other. James closes his eyes, a grim satisfaction blooming. That's perfect. He got exactly what he deserved. You think he'll attempt any revenge on me? Christopher snorts. He's got no resources, no stable address, and no guts. He might talk big, but my guess is he's too busy surviving. If he tries, we'll handle it. James mulls it over. Total meltdown for Daniel. Check. Ashley's father unexpectedly calls James one afternoon, an older man with a stern tone. James, he begins, I'm sure you're thrilled about humiliating my daughter so thoroughly. She's lost her job, her home, everything. Are you satisfied? James grips the phone, voice measured. Respectfully, sir, Ashley brought it on herself. She cheated in our home, lied constantly. I exposed it, that's all. Her father sighs heavily. I can't defend her, but I hoped we could handle it privately for the sake of everyone's dignity. You went nuclear. James bristles. You'd prefer I just quietly divorced her? Let her keep up appearances while I rotted in humiliation? No, she humiliated me first. I reciprocated. A pause. I suppose I can't blame you, the father concedes. But if you intend to finalize the divorce, just handle it swiftly. Let her salvage whatever's left of her life. James nods. That's the plan. Goodbye. He hangs up, feeling neither triumphant nor regretful, just certain that his path is set. The next morning, Ethan sends a triumphant text. Judge granted a preliminary ruling favoring your side. Ashley can't claim spousal support. House is in foreclosure if she can't pay. No major assets for her. James exhales relief. The legal system is acknowledging her wrongdoing. She might have to sign a final settlement soon, giving James freedom from any financial burdens. That same afternoon, a final blow arrives. Ashley is officially terminated from her marketing firm. She's blacklisted by most local agencies, thanks to the high-profile affair that went viral. James hears from old co-workers that Ashley might attempt rebranding herself in another city. He shrugs. Let her run away if she wants. The damage here is done. Night falls, and James sits in the Airbnb living room packing a small bag. Word from his boss at the defense company indicates a new overseas contract might open in a month. He's leaning toward accepting. The phone buzzes, Ashley calling again. For reasons unknown, he answers. Her voice is raw, near tears. James, I signed the final divorce agreement. You got what you wanted. Everything is gone. Are you happy now? He takes a slow breath, remembering the heartbreak, the months of deception. I'm not happy, Ashley. I'm just done. You destroyed our marriage. I responded in kind. That's the end. A shaky sob. I never thought it would come to this. I'm sorry. He closes his eyes. It's too late. Good luck in whatever life you rebuild. Then he ends the call, letting the silence envelop him. He gazes at the packed suitcase. This chapter is almost over. A swirl of relief mingled with sorrow flits through him. He stands, turning off the light. Another day in this saga has concluded, one step closer to final closure. Chapter 8. The weeks roll on, bringing the official finalization of James's divorce. The judge signs off on the settlement. Ashley forfeits any claim to alimony. The house is either foreclosed or sold at a loss her problem to handle. She's jobless, publicly disgraced, living with her parents or possibly couchsurfing with a distant friend. Meanwhile, Daniel is rumored to have skipped town, avoiding angry creditors. Some say he hopped a bus east or tried hooking up with an old fling in another state. Christopher's watch indicates Daniel is off the grid, a non-factor now. James stands in the courthouse corridor with Ethan, glancing at the final decree. The corridor's fluorescent lights cast a sterile glow on the official seal. A wave of finality rushes through him. He and Ashley are no longer husband and wife. All that remains are memories and regrets, but mostly relief that he's free from the sham. Ethan clasps James's shoulder. It's done, man. You're single. No spousal support, no major asset loss. She can't claim anything beyond what's already agreed upon. James nods, voice quiet. Thanks for guiding me. I appreciate it. He steps outside into bright midday sunshine. The sky feels painfully clear, like a new beginning. He can't help but recall the day he married Ashley. That sense of hope under a similarly bright sky. Now everything is turned on its head, but he doesn't let nostalgia swallow him. He's come too far. He texts Brittany, "Divorce final. We're done." She replies with a series of supportive emojis. He drives to a small diner for lunch, alone, letting the weight of the final decree sink in. The waitress asks if he's okay. He must look introspective. He half smiles, orders a burger, and stares at the swirling patterns of the tabletop. I am no longer married. I am no one's husband. The thought is both liberating and tinged with sadness. In the ensuing days, the fallout from the affair quiets down. The public's appetite for scandal moves on to new gossip. Ashley fades into relative obscurity, rumored to be taking time off, She tries calling James. Once more, he rejects the call. She's no longer part of his life, and he's not interested in listening to pleas for mercy or half-baked apologies. Christopher meets him for a celebratory drink one evening. They settle into a corner booth at a dimly lit bar. Christopher lifts his glass. To final closure, man. You delivered the mother of all revenges. How do you feel now? James takes a sip of whiskey, rolling it on his tongue. A strange calm, I guess. Ashley is dethroned. Daniel vanished. We've proven I'm not someone to be messed with. Yet I feel a bit hollow. Christopher nods knowingly. Revenge rarely heals the heartbreak, but it sure gives that sense of justice. Now you can start fresh. Brittany joins them part way, sliding into the booth with a small smile. I hear Daniel might be living in some cheap motel in Arizona. Rumor. My friend saw a post on his old social feed. He's probably a total wreck. She shakes her head. That scumbag had it coming. James sets down his glass. Good. Let him rot. I don't care if he's flipping burgers or begging for change. He humiliated me in my own bed with Ashley. Brittany sighs. True, that. Meanwhile, Ashley's father basically cut her off financially. She's apparently applying for random marketing gigs out of state. Doubt she'll find anything soon. Everyone knows her face from that meltdown. James leans back, a sense of finality. That's all I wanted. They can't bounce back easily, can't pretend they're unstoppable. They have to live with the consequences. Days become weeks. James finalizes his living arrangements. He ditches the Airbnb, renting a small modern loft downtown, a fresh environment away from the memories. The place is sleek, minimalist, with large windows that let in sunlight. He invests in new furniture, discarding anything that reminds him of the life he shared with Ashley. The old couch where they once cuddled, gone. The bed they once slept in, sold. He sets up his engineering workstation in a corner, focusing on an upcoming drone project. Work is a welcome distraction, a space where he excels, recognized as a meticulous problem solver. A part of him wonders if he might request that overseas assignment soon. Amanda tries one last time to contact him. She leaves a voicemail. James, please, my job's on the line. I swear I had no part in encouraging them, I just didn't speak up. Don't let me be collateral damage. She sounds desperate. He listens, impassive. Then he hits delete. She's not worth further consideration. Let her scramble. She's lucky he's not actively exposing her additional secrets. Similarly, he hears through the grapevine that Ashley has tried to form a support group with some friends seeking empathy. But the truth remains. Most people side with James, given the brazen affair. Even her close circle of girlfriends keep a cautious distance. One quiet afternoon, James sorts through old photos on his laptop. Wedding pictures, honeymoon snapshots, birthdays, random silly selfies. Each image once sparked joy. Now they sting like salt in a wound. He contemplates deleting them all, but decides to move them to a single external drive labeled past. Maybe one day he'll glance at them for closure, not now. He also stumbles upon a hidden folder of Ashley's that he'd never noticed. A handful of flirty photos with random men's phone numbers, possibly old flings. This reaffirms that Daniel wasn't the first. How blind was I? He shakes his head, uploading them to the past drive. So many illusions shattered. Christopher invites James on a weekend fishing trip, a chance to unplug and reflect. They drive out to a secluded lake, rods in hand, a cooler of drinks. The fresh air and shimmering water feel like a balm. Christopher casts his line, glancing at James. So, you going to date again anytime soon? James chuckles bitterly. Not a chance. Not for a while. I need to rediscover who I am without the baggage of a cheating spouse. I might accept that overseas assignment soon. Or focus on personal hobbies. Christopher nods. That's fair. Just remember, not all women are like Ashley. Don't let her define your future. James bobs his line, swirling the lure. I know, but trust is hard to rebuild. Let me enjoy my freedom first. They spend the weekend quietly, reeling in a few fish, sipping beers by the campfire at night. James confides that he still has dreams about catching Ashley in bed with Daniel, sometimes waking in a sweat. Christopher sympathizes, urging him to see a counselor if nightmares persist. James shrugs, not quite ready for therapy, but the conversation helps. Being in nature, away from the city's gossip, soothes his mind. By Sunday evening, he drives back to his loft, feeling a bit lighter. The revenge is done, the legalities are mostly settled. He can let the story fade and concentrate on building a new chapter. Finally, late one night, James sits at his new loft's small balcony, gazing at city lights. His phone buzzes with an email. The final divorce decree, digitally signed by the judge. No possibility of appeals unless Ashley invests in a losing battle. He breathes out, reading the lines that state their marriage is dissolved, that neither owes alimony, that the house is no longer his concern. A swirl of relief, sorrow, and a hint of triumph. He thinks of the entire saga, from the moment he discovered them to the meticulously planned public humiliation, to the meltdown at the Gala, the slow personal and professional destruction of Ashley and Daniel. It's a dark tale, but it's his. He feels no remorse. They forced his hand. They wanted to degrade him behind his back, so he delivered a retribution that scorched their illusions. A mild breeze ruffles his hair. He closes the email, sets the phone aside, and stares at the skyline. I'm free. He can sense the last vestiges of heartbreak drifting away. Sure, the scar remains, but no one can accuse him of letting them get away with it. He's James, the engineer who turned cunning avenger. And tomorrow, he'll wake up to a world where the cheaters pay forever. He stands, heading back inside the loft, a new chapter waiting to be written, one free of Ashley's shadow. Chapter 9. A month has slipped by since the day James stood on his downtown loft's balcony, reading the final divorce decree on his phone. In that time, life has settled into a strangely peaceful rhythm. No more frantic calls from Ashley, no more heated gossip about the infamous Gala meltdown. The public appetite for scandal has moved on to new topics, leaving James to quietly piece his life back together. He hasn't returned to the old marital home at all. As far as he's concerned, that house is haunted by the memory of Ashley and Daniel. Now, it's either in foreclosure or on the brink of sale. He cares little for the outcome. He wakes one crisp morning in his minimalist loft, the sun painting warm stripes across the hardwood floor. He stretches, feeling a subdued sense of relief. The final decree was clear. No spousal support, no messy asset divisions beyond letting Ashley keep the house's debt. She's effectively out of his life, except for the occasional legal formality. Daniel remains a ghost rumor. Some say he's fled the state, deeply in debt, couch surfing, or living in motels. Amanda occasionally tries to salvage her image in the marketing world, but no one's paying attention. Christopher and Brittany keep James in the loop with random tidbits of the ex-lover's continued downfall, but mostly he's focused on looking forward. Today, he has a meeting at his defense company. They want him to consider an overseas contract in Asia, something about testing a new drone prototype on mountainous terrain. He's leaning toward accepting. It's an escape from the city that reminds him of Betrayal, a chance to reboot fully. A clean slate could be what I need, he thinks. He dresses in a casual blazer, checks his phone for any pressing messages. Nothing urgent. He heads out, stepping into the bright day, a sense of cautious optimism in his step. Arriving at the sleek glass building that houses the defense contractor's local branch, James feels a ripple of nostalgia. He's been here for years, quietly climbing the ranks, an engineer with a reputation for methodical, error-free work. The security guard greets him warmly. He steps into an elevator, heading to the top floor, where a small boardroom discussion is set to happen. In that boardroom, a handful of senior project managers welcome him. One, named Kyle, leads the meeting with a series of slides about the new Asia contract. They need an engineering lead to do final tests on a specialized drone. The project might last 3 to 6 months, maybe more. James listens quietly, nodding. They mention potential hazards, rugged mountain climates, language barriers with local staff, but the pay is excellent. Plus, James has the skill set they need. Kyle sums it up. So, you'd be the main field engineer. Think of it as a chance to ensure our prototypes excel in extreme conditions. Are you open to traveling again? James taps a pen on the table, remembering how traveling gave Ashley an excuse to cheat. But that's behind him now. This could be a new chapter free of those shadows. He states calmly, "Yes, I'm interested. I'll need final details, but I see no obstacle." The managers smile, relieved. They hand him an overview packet. James glances through it, feeling a faint spark of excitement. An extended stay abroad, away from the stale memories of LA, might be precisely what his soul craves. Let's do it, he decides inwardly. That evening, James invites Brittany to his loft for takeout sushi. She arrives in her usual vibrant-style casual jeans, a bright blouse, hair pinned back. They sprawl on the living room floor, chopsticks in hand, trays of sushi arrayed on the coffee table. The loft's open design and large windows create a peaceful atmosphere, far from the tension of last month's meltdown. He shares the news. The company wants me in Asia, maybe for half a year. Good pay, interesting project. I'm thinking of accepting. Brittany's eyes widen. Half a year? That's a big chunk of time, but could be exactly what you need to move on fully. James nods, nibbling on a spicy tuna roll. That's what I'm thinking. Fresh environment, no memories of Ashley or the fiasco. I can bury myself in work, see a new country, find clarity. Brittany sips her soda. Do it. Life's short. You're single, no kids, no obligations now. Why not? Just promise you'll keep in touch. I don't want radio silence for months. He smirks. Of course, I'll video call, and you can keep me updated on any leftover drama from Ashley or Daniel. She waves a hand dismissively. Doubt there'll be new drama. They're basically done. Then she eyes him carefully. You sure you're emotionally ready to be away from everything familiar? The meltdown was huge. Some people might say you're running from your problems. James exhales, setting down his chopsticks. Maybe I am. But also, I feel I've done all I can here. The meltdown ended exactly how I wanted. Let me chase a new horizon. Despite his confidence, James can't deny the occasional pang of sorrow when he sees reminders of Ashley around town. A billboard featuring her old marketing firm or a cafe they once frequented triggers memories. At night, he sometimes dreams of that moment he stepped into his own bedroom to find Daniel's arms around her. He wakes in a cold sweat, anger surging. The satisfaction of revenge is real, but heartbreak still lingers in quiet moments. In these moments, he texts Christopher or Brittany, letting them reassure him that it's normal to feel residual pain. Christopher calls it post-betrayal PTSD, half joking. James half laughs, half cries internally. Therapy might help, but he's not quite ready. He buries the pain in day-to-day tasks, focusing on the Asia contract and finalizing the loft's decor. One afternoon, James stops at a hardware store to pick up some tools for small DIY projects in the loft. While browsing aisles, he nearly bumps into a familiar face. Kevin, an old college buddy he hasn't seen in ages. Kevin greets him with a broad grin, but then quickly shifts to a sympathetic expression. Man, I heard about the fiasco with Ashley. That was savage. Are you okay? James tenses but forces a polite smile. Yeah, I'm fine. Shit happens, I guess. Kevin shakes his head. I can't believe she did that. I remember your wedding you two seemed so solid. James shrugs, feigning indifference. People change. Anyway, I handled it. Kevin hesitates, then asks if James wants to grab coffee sometime. James agrees, a bit hesitant, but it might be nice to reconnect with a friend who's not directly entangled in the scandal. Before fully committing to the Asia assignment, James feels an odd compulsion to swing by the old neighborhood where he and Ashley shared a home. He wants to see it one last time before burying that chapter. Late one evening, he drives through the quiet suburban streets. The house's windows are dark, a for sale foreclosure sign out front. The lawn is patchy. The place feels abandoned. He parks and steps out, leaning on the fence. A swirl of memories floods in. The day he carried Ashley over the threshold after their wedding, the barbecues with neighbors, the Sunday mornings spent reading papers in the yard. All overshadowed now by her betrayal. A flicker of sadness knots his chest. We had so much potential. Then he sighs, reminding himself that illusions can be deceptive. Maybe they were never truly solid. He walks away, footsteps echoing on the sidewalk, leaving the house behind him for good. A few days later, James meets Kevin for coffee at a downtown cafe. They settle into a corner table. Kevin orders a latte, James opts for black coffee. After small talk about college memories, Kevin gently prods for more about the meltdown. I only heard rumors. Did you really broadcast explicit footage at her big corporate event? James snorts. Explicit enough to confirm the affair, enough to wreck her promotion. I was done being a fool. Kevin nods slowly. Harsh, but I get it. Ashley used to be so sweet. Hard to reconcile with what she did. He sips his latte. I actually ran into her father last week. He's livid. Basically disowned her. She might move out of state. James shrugs. That's her problem. I've moved on. I'm heading overseas for a new contract soon. Kevin brightens. Oh, that's awesome. Fresh start, man. You deserve it. They part ways with a half hug, Kevin promising to keep in touch. James feels a tinge of relief that not everyone sees him as a monster for humiliating Ashley. Some friends back his actions fully. Christopher calls late one night with an unexpected tidbit. Just so you know, there's a rumor Daniel might be drifting back into L.A. quietly. Some financial issue he has to settle. My contact spotted him near a payday loan place. James's adrenaline spikes. Why return here? Could he be planning something stupid like confronting me? James wonders. Christopher sighs. Hard to say. He might be too broke or too desperate to do anything rational. But keep your eyes open. If he tries to approach, let me handle it. James thanks him, a flicker of concern nagging. He's not afraid of a physical confrontation, but he doesn't want drama. Still, if Daniel wants to lash out, James is prepared. A few days later, James is grabbing groceries at a large supermarket after work. Walking to his car in the dimly lit parking lot, he feels someone stare. He turns to see a disheveled figure leaning by a beat-up old sedan. It's Daniel Hare, unkempt, eyes hollow, wearing worn clothes. The man stares at James with an odd mixture of rage and pleading. James sets his grocery bag down, body tensing. Daniel steps forward cautiously, hands raised. I'm not here to fight, man. I just want to talk. His voice is raspy, desperation seeping through. James eyes him coldly. There's nothing left to say. You destroyed my marriage. I destroyed your reputation. We're done. Daniel coughs, looking around nervously. Look, you can see I'm down bad. I lost everything. Could you help me out with some cash? Just enough to get out of town. Please, I've got nowhere else to turn. James's anger flares. The audacity. Help you? After you bedded my wife? Humiliated me? Boasted that I'd never suspect? You must be insane. Daniel's voice shakes. I regret it. I messed up. But you destroyed me, man. Everything's gone job, credit. I'm basically homeless. James steps closer, voice low. Good. That was the point. Now get lost before I call the police. Daniel's eyes flicker with a final hint of bitterness. You think you're righteous, but you stoop to savage revenge. He spits on the ground, then slouches away to his sedan. He mumbles, "Fuck you, James," sliding behind the wheel, driving off with a sputtering engine. James stands there, heart pounding. For a second, he feels a twinge of pity at Daniel's pitiful state. Then he remembers the betrayal. No, hitty. He picks up his groceries, loads them in his trunk, and drives away, adrenaline making his hands tremble on the wheel. That fleeting run-in hammered home how thoroughly the revenge was completed. Daniel is a broken shell, scrounging for scraps. Ashley is jobless, socially exiled. The meltdown is total. James returns to his loft, sets the groceries on the counter, then sinks onto the couch. He closes his eyes, letting the tension seep out. The confrontation happened, and it was anticlimactic, no blows. Just a desperate Daniel begging for money. James feels no regret sending him off empty-handed. This is the final exclamation point on the entire fiasco. Chapter 10. Some days after that chance parking lot encounter with Daniel, James finds himself surprisingly at peace. The sense of righteous anger that fueled his revenge has cooled. The meltdown he orchestrated achieved every goal. Ashley lost her career, her public image, her father's backing. Daniel spiraled into ruin. There's no sign of them recovering soon. He still plans to accept the overseas contract. The final negotiations with his company are nearly done. The thought of leaving L.A. behind feels like shedding a heavy coat of memories. Friends like Christopher and Brittany support his decision, seeing how a fresh environment can fully close the door on the painful chapter. Meeting Brittany for coffee at a small artisan shop, James notices her anxious expression. She stirs her latte slowly, then speaks softly. So, with you leaving the country, do you feel you got real closure? Or just fled the scene after dropping the bomb? James tilts his head, considering. I'd say it's closure enough. Ashley can't spin the narrative to blame me. Daniel's gone. The truth is out. I see no reason to linger and watch them suffer further. She nods, lips pursed. I get that. I just worry you might bury the emotional fallout. Sometimes you keep stuff bottled up. He half smiles. Maybe. But I'm not full of rage anymore. The meltdown was enough. I feel more free than I have in months. If anything, this trip will help me fully move on. Satisfied, Brittany sips her latte. All right. Just know we love you, big bro. Don't cut us out once you're halfway around the world. He chuckles, promising to stay in touch. By now, the foreclosure on the old house is basically a done deal. Ashley might try selling it or defaulting, but James is off the deed thanks to the divorce settlement. Ethan calls to confirm the last step. You're clear of any mortgage ties. Ashley, or the bank, handles the rest. James thanks him, relieved. Another weight lifted. He also cancels the lease on his loft, timing it so he'll vacate right before flying overseas. The landlord is understanding, even praising James for never being late on rent. James smiles at the irony Ashley used to manage finances. Now, James is the responsible one, finishing every detail meticulously. One evening, James logs onto social media half out of curiosity. He stumbles upon a new anonymous blog post that references the heartbreak of losing everything, an obvious stand-in for Ashley's meltdown. The writing style suggests it might be her, venting about how her husband cruelly exposed her mistakes, how she's alone, jobless, friendless. He reads it, feeling a faint stir of pity. She references her father's anger, Daniel's betrayal. He apparently turned on her, blaming her for the fiasco, and the shame of being recognized as the adulteress from that viral video. She doesn't mention James by name, but calls him my vengeful ex. The blog post ends with a teary apology to the universe, lamenting her choices. James exhales, closing the tab. He wonders if she's truly remorseful or just regrets getting caught. Probably the latter. Either way, not my concern, he tells himself. He's done letting her manipulate his emotions. Finally, the day arrives when James's employer sends an official offer letter, a 6-month assignment in a mountainous region of East Asia, possibly extendable. The compensation is hefty, plus a bonus for remote hazard pay. James signs the contract electronically, feeling a wave of anticipation. This is the ultimate reset button. He shares the news with Christopher. Looks like I'm out of here in 2 weeks. Christopher grins over the phone. Congrats, man. Any regrets about leaving so soon after the meltdown? James shakes his head. No regrets. I inflicted the meltdown for closure, not to watch them suffer day by day. I have my life to lead. Christopher respects that. Fair enough. If you need anything before you go, let me know. I'll watch your back if Daniel tries some last-ditch nonsense. James thanks him, though suspects Daniel is too broken to attempt revenge. To ensure no lingering threats exist, Christopher does a final sweep of Daniel's last known address. He reports that Daniel apparently skipped the city for good. One neighbor said he left in a battered car, muttering about heading north to find work. Christopher sees no sign of him locally. He's gone, Christopher tells James. You can relax. James is relieved. The memory of that parking lot encounter unsettled him. He's glad Daniel's out of L.A., likely never to return. If Daniel tries to contact him again, James won't respond. The man is a footnote in a completed story. Despite everything, James experiences occasional late-night pangs, flashbacks to old anniversaries with Ashley, her smile, the domestic routine that once felt secure. He'll roll over in bed, half expecting her warmth, then remember the betrayal. A bitter twinge hits, followed by the calming thought. She can't hurt me anymore. The meltdown was complete, the divorce final. He's free. He contemplates short therapy sessions, but decides to hold off. The impending travel might be therapy enough, a radical break from all known triggers. Maybe exploring foreign mountains, immersing in a new culture, will help him find deeper healing. The day before James departs, Brittany organizes a small farewell dinner at her cozy apartment. She invites Christopher and a few of James's friends who remained supportive throughout the ordeal. They bring potluck dishes, share laughs, talk about everything except the scandal unless James brings it up. He's touched by the warmth of genuine friends, a circle that never judged him for taking revenge. Over plates of homemade lasagna and bottles of craft beer, they toast to new beginnings. Brittany stands, raising her glass. To James, for showing us we don't have to be doormats. May your new chapter overseas be filled with adventure and clarity. Everyone cheers, clinking glasses. James feels a pang of gratitude, reflecting on how isolating betrayal can be, yet how unwavering sibling loyalty helps one survive. Late that night, after the farewell dinner, James scrolls through phone messages. There's one new voicemail from a random number. He suspects it's Ashley calling from a borrowed phone. A part of him nearly deletes it unheard. but curiosity wins. He plays it. "James, it's me. I heard you're leaving the country. I can't believe it ended like this. I know you won't forgive me, but I want you to know I'm sorry. Truly. I wanted a second chance, but I get you're done. Just be safe out there. If you ever want to talk, I'll be here. I'm so lost." Her voice cracks with tears, then the message ends abruptly. James stands there, phone in hand, feeling a swirl of complicated emotions. Anger, pity, nostalgia, a faint sense of closure. He doesn't bother replying. She wants a second chance she'll never get. At dawn, James stands at the airport curb, a single duffel bag slung over his shoulder, plus a sturdy suitcase. Brittany insisted on driving him. She hugs him tight, eyes moist. "Take care, big bro. Don't vanish on me, okay? Keep me updated on your epic overseas shenanigans." He smiles, returning the hug. "Count on it. Thank you for everything, the moral support, the social media meltdown assistance. Couldn't have done it alone." She waves away the thanks, tears shining in her eyes. "Just come back a happier man, yeah?" He nods, stepping inside the terminal. He checks in, passes through security, eventually settles at the gate for his international flight. Waiting there, he reflects on the entire saga, discovering Ashley and Daniel, orchestrating the Gala exposure, watching them crumble, finalizing the divorce. A wave of calm acceptance settles over him. The heartbreak might never fully vanish, but the revenge was thorough, and he's free to embrace a future untainted by their betrayal. They call his boarding group. He rises, carrying his bag, stepping onto the jet bridge. The plane's engines hum. As he settles into his seat, he stares out the window, city lights fading in the distance. Farewell, L.A., he thinks. Farewell to that entire fiasco. A small, determined smile curves his lips. The meltdown concluded. He paid them back for every betrayal. Now he can truly begin again. No regrets, no illusions. Chapter 11. James steps off the plane in a remote Asian airport, greeted by crisp mountain air and a sense of dislocation from everything familiar. An official from his defense company meets him, helping him navigate customs. They drive through winding roads, past towering peaks, small villages with rooftops of corrugated metal, fields dotted with grazing yaks. The stark beauty stuns him. He feels a surge of relief, no memories of Ashley here, no sting of betrayal behind every corner. They reach a small research base, a cluster of prefab buildings perched on a high plateau. This will be James's workspace for the next 6 months, testing drone flight stability in extreme altitudes. He's assigned a Spartan dorm-style room with a bed, a desk, and a window overlooking a valley. Gazing out at the breathtaking vista, he feels excitement flicker. This is a fresh start. Dawn the next day sees James suiting up in cold weather gear, meeting a team of local engineers and an international group of specialists. They brief him on the prototypes, small, high-altitude drones designed for recon missions. His job is to evaluate flight systems, calibrate sensors, and troubleshoot any mechanical flaws in real mountain conditions. He thrives on the challenge adjusting code, testing drone motors, analyzing flight data. The complexities of altitude, wind shear, and temperature extremes keep him busy from dawn until nightfall. The mental focus is a welcome distraction from personal scars. In quiet moments, he still feels echoes of heartbreak. But each day spent climbing ridges to launch test flights leaves him too tired to dwell on the past. Occasionally, he receives emails from Brittany describing small updates in L.A. She keeps them light. A new boyfriend, a promotion at her social media firm. She rarely mentions Ashley or Daniel, only that there's no sign of them re-emerging. That suits James fine. The meltdown is old news. Let them fade into anonymity. He also hears from Christopher, who jokes about keeping your fortress secure in case Daniel resurfaces. James smiles at these updates, grateful for loyal allies, but each message reminds him how distant that old life now feels. Over weeks, James bonds with a few local staff: Liang, a multilingual engineer who helps him interpret local conditions, and Marina, a Spanish scientist on the team. Marina, friendly and inquisitive, senses James's guarded nature. One evening they chat around a communal fire pit behind the research station. She asks gently, "You came from a messy situation, didn't you?" He raises an eyebrow. "Let's just say my personal life was complicated. I needed an escape." She nods, not prying further. Mountains are good for that. They strip away pretense, force you to face yourself. He admires her perspective, someone who trekked many countries, learning that the simplest truths often come in remote places. He feels no romantic spark with Marina or Liang, but he values their camaraderie. It's a refreshing sense of community untainted by his past. Despite the new environment, James sometimes wakes from dreams of the Gala meltdown. In them, he's at the microphone, playing the video, but the screen shows endless loops of Ashley and Daniel's betrayal, never stopping. He jolts awake in the cold dorm bed, heart hammering. The revenge satisfied him, yet the emotional scar remains. He wonders if therapy would help, even out here, but resources are limited. Instead, he channels that energy into strenuous hikes. On weekends, he straps on boots, climbs the rocky trails alone, letting the spectacular scenery cleanse his mind. At high altitudes, the air is thin, breath labored, but the panoramic views fill him with awe. On one such hike, standing atop a ridge, he shouts into the wind, releasing pent-up anguish. The echo fades into the mountains. He feels a strange catharsis. One late afternoon, as James returns from a test flight, he finds a single email from a cryptic address. The subject line reads, "I'm sorry. It's from Ashley, apparently using a new email." Against his better judgment, he opens it. The email is long, full of remorseful paragraphs. She claims she's left L.A., tried to get a job in a smaller city, faced rejections everywhere. She admits to seeing a therapist who labeled her pattern of infidelity as self-destructive. She begs for James's forgiveness, though she doesn't expect reconciliation. He reads it twice. A swirl of emotions emerges: pity, lingering anger, a faint sense of too little, too late. He closes the email, deciding not to respond. "I've let you go," he thinks. "I have no more words." That evening, after dinner, James sits on a small boulder behind the research station, gazing at the star-studded sky. He replays Ashley's words in his head. She's obviously paying a heavy price. He succeeded in unleashing near-total ruin on her illusions. Does he still harbor resentment? Maybe less than before. The meltdown was thorough. She's living with the aftermath daily. He breathes the cold mountain air, feeling the sting of the altitude in his lungs. He ponders whether he might be ready to consult the station's on-site mental health officer. There's a basic wellness staff for employees in remote locales. The next day, he arranges a short talk with Dr. Fisher, an older psychologist stationed there for stress management. In a small makeshift office, Dr. Fisher listens as James sums up the betrayal, the revenge, the divorce, the ongoing nightmares. Dr. Fisher quietly commends James for acknowledging the trauma. He suggests some coping strategies: journaling, mindfulness. James is initially hesitant. He's never been a therapy guy, but he leaves with a calmer sense that maybe this was a step forward. Over the next 2 months, James settles into a solid routine. By day, he perfects drone flight algorithms, exchanging data with the stateside team. By evening, he either chats with Brittany via video call or practices journaling as Dr. Fisher recommended. He starts sleeping better, nightmares diminishing, the mountainous setting, the purposeful work, and the emotional distance from LA's drama seemed to be healing him gradually. Brittany's video calls often contain silly moments with her cat or news about her new boyfriend. She never mentions Ashley or Daniel unless James asks, which he rarely does. The saga recedes into distant memory. One night, Christopher pings James with a cryptic text. Heard Daniel might have been arrested for some minor fraud in another state, not 100% confirmed. James stares at the message, feeling no shock. He's just fulfilling the path of self-destruction. James shrugs, texting back, "Figures, thanks for the heads up." He feels no need to dig deeper. Daniel is a non-entity now. Let him rot in a jail cell if that's how his story ends. That same week, Brittany emails a snippet from a rumor site, claiming Ashley is bartending in a small coastal town, presumably to make ends meet. James skims it, closes the link. He's moved on emotionally, no desire to track her day-to-day misfortune. The meltdown was thorough. Seeing them in permanent ruin is enough. As the 6-month mark of his overseas contract looms, James stands outside the research station one twilight, the sky awash with pink and gold over the imposing mountains. The drones pass their final stress tests. The project is deemed a success. He's proud of his role, maybe even up for another promotion. More importantly, he's rediscovered a sense of self independent of betrayal and revenge. The bitterness, once a constant companion, has dulled to a faint ache. He gazes at the horizon, letting the thin, crisp air fill his lungs. He recalls the bedroom scene that once haunted him, Ashley and Daniel's entangled forms. The memory no longer sparks rage, only a distant sorrow. "I did what had to be done," he reassures himself. "They paid the price. Now, I'm free." The station's radio beeps, summoning him for dinner. He trudges inside, concluding Chapter 10 of his life, or so it feels. The meltdown concluded months ago, the dust fully settled. He's on the brink of returning stateside soon, not as a haunted husband, but as a man who overcame heartbreak with unwavering resolve. That knowledge soothes him, promising a future unburdened by Ashley's lies. Chapter 12. Another month passes in the remote mountains, during which James finalizes the drone project with remarkable success. The company is thrilled, awarding him a significant bonus and offering him a permanent role in advanced R&D. He politely declines further overseas postings, deciding it's time to head back to the U.S., re-establish a life on his own terms. He boards a plane from Asia back to L.A., this time with no dread or heartbreak clinging to his suitcase. The flight is peaceful, the cabin lights dim, the hum of engines lulling him into a restful sleep. He dreams not of betrayal, but of open skies and mountains. Waking, he smiles. This is progress, genuine healing. Landing in LAX feels oddly full circle. Months ago, he arrived to discover his world had crumbled. Now he's returning on his own schedule, strong and unburdened. He breezes through customs, grabs his luggage. Brittany picks him up at arrivals. She jumps out of her car, hugging him fiercely, exclaiming how proud she is that he pulled a phoenix and rose from the ashes. They drive off, the LA skyline looming under midday sun. Brittany chats about how things changed in his absence. Certain restaurants closed, new developments opened, the marketing firm once employing Ashley reorganized. She mentions Amanda quietly left the firm to avoid permanent stigma. James nods impassively. He has no strong feelings about that. This time, James invests in a sleek modern condo near the city center, a step up from the old loft. With his project bonus, he can afford a nicer place, complete with a private balcony overlooking downtown. He envisions a life of balance, continuing his engineering role stateside, traveling if needed, forging new friendships untainted by the past. Within days, he's furnished the condo with crisp, modern pieces, no reminders of the old marital furniture. He sets a few souvenirs from Asia on the mantel, letting the global vibe reflect his new perspective. A well-stocked kitchen awaits nights of self-cooked meals or small gatherings with real friends. As he restocks groceries, Brittany and Christopher keep him updated. Some say Ashley found a temporary marketing gig out of state, rumored to be near her mother's extended family. She's living a modest life, struggling to rebuild. Some local acquaintances mention she's way more humble now, says she regrets everything. James hears it with mild detachment. He no longer craves updates on her. One day he receives an envelope with no return address. Inside is a short note, seemingly from Ashley. It states, "I truly hope you're okay. I'm still sorry." No phone number, no please. James reads it, then tosses it in the trash. He's done rehashing old pains. Weeks pass, and James immerses in an R&D position at the defense company's LA branch. One evening, after a corporate mixer, he finds himself chatting with Hannah, a new software engineer on the team. She's witty, with an easy laugh, academically brilliant. They share a conversation about drones, coding, and eventually personal interests, music, hiking, a love for Japanese cuisine. There's a spark James hasn't felt in ages, but he's wary. The memory of Ashley's betrayal warns him not to rush. He politely exchanges contact info with Hannah, suggests maybe they grab lunch sometime. She smiles. I'd like that. He drives home, feeling a gentle warmth mixed with cautious hope. Not all women are cheaters, Brittany told him. Maybe life can hold new connections. Another day, James meets Kevin, the old college friend, for a casual beer after work. Kevin mentions how proud he is that James turned his life around post-scandal. Then he drops a small bombshell. I actually bumped into Ashley at some business event out of state last month. She was there, trying to network. She seemed changed. James's pulse quickens. Changed how? Kevin shrugs. She looked worn, apologized to me about everything that happened, said she's trying to rebuild her life. She asked about you, but I kept it vague. She didn't pry. James sets his glass down, unsure how to feel. Thanks for letting me know. I guess she's genuinely remorseful, or just coping with the consequences. Kevin pats James's shoulder. Either way, it's behind you. You won, man. James nods, though the notion of her living in regret stirs a faint tinge of sympathy, quickly doused by remembering the depth of her betrayal. James tentatively explores a budding friendship with Hannah. They meet for sushi, share jokes about coding mishaps, debate the merits of certain drone autopilot algorithms. She's refreshingly straightforward, not playing mind games. Over dinners, she reveals her own heartbreak from a past cheating boyfriend. They find common ground in having been betrayed. One evening, they linger over dessert. Hannah quietly admits, I was broken for a long time. I know how betrayal can warp your trust. James nods, lips pressed. Same here. She extends a warm look. I promise I'm not that type. If I like someone, I'm loyal. He exhales, a subtle tension releasing. He might be ready to trust again, at least a little. A random Thursday morning, James checks his phone after a staff meeting, a voicemail from a private number. He hesitates, suspecting Ashley or Daniel nonsense again, but curiosity wins. He listens. To his shock, it's a subdued message from Amanda. She says, I know you probably hate me, but I owe you an apology. I participated in covering for Ashley. I lost my job, moved away, and now I see how wrong I was. I'm sorry if I added to your pain. I hope you're finding happiness. He blinks, feeling a slight relief that Amanda acknowledges her part. He doesn't call back. He doesn't hate her enough to sabotage her further. It's water under the bridge now. Perhaps everyone around Ashley realized the cost of enabling that affair. A week later, Christopher texts a single line. Heard Daniel was arrested on petty theft charges in Colorado. Looks like he's continuing the downward spiral. James stares at the message in silence. He feels no joy, just a hollow reaffirmation that the meltdown ended Daniel's future. He had it coming, James thinks. No pity. He sends a quick thanks to Christopher, then returns to reviewing a drone blueprint. Life moves on. He does pause to reflect that his revenge was so thorough, Daniel sees no way up, only a deeper downfall. Part of him wonders if that's too harsh, but the memory of Daniel's mocking grin surfaces. James will never suspect, and any twinge of pity dissipates. By the time James has fully settled in at his new condo, half a year post-divorce, he feels an unmistakable sense of peace. The heartbreak still echoes sometimes, but he's functional, stable, and even optimistic about the future. He's begun casually dating Hannah, discovering a genuine compatibility that feels nothing like the deception he faced before. One lazy Sunday, they stroll through a local park, sipping iced coffees, chatting about everything from software bugs to favorite Netflix series. At one point, Hannah gently touches his arm, asking, "So, any lingering regrets about the meltdown you caused?" He thinks carefully, then replies softly, "Regrets about how it came to that, yes, but not about exposing them. They were brazen. They thought I was a fool. I had to show them I wasn't. It ended my marriage. But that marriage was already dead the moment Ashley chose Daniel." Hannah squeezes his hand in quiet understanding. "I get it." They continue walking, a comfortable silence wrapping them. In the distance, children laugh on playground swings. James breathes the warm air, feeling no bitterness, only acceptance that life can continue, possibly even flourish, after betrayal. As they part ways, a sense of renewed hope blossoms in James's heart. The meltdown from months ago is firmly in the rearview mirror, all its players scattered or ruined. He stands a man who overcame heartbreak with cunning, who refused to be a helpless victim. The memory of that night discovering Ashley with Daniel still stings, but the revenge that followed gave him closure. Now he's free to craft a new story on his own terms. Chapter 13. A full year has passed since the night James orchestrated the public meltdown at Ashley's marketing gala. The date crosses his mind. As he drives to work one morning, he realizes with mild surprise that the anniversary of that event is today. He feels no longing or regret, just a calm recollection of how drastically his life changed. In that year, he traveled abroad for the drone project, returned to LA with a sense of purpose, and gradually opened himself to new experiences, like seeing if something real can grow with Hannah. He occasionally checks social media out of curiosity. Ashley's old profiles lie dormant, or she's using a new alias. Daniel's nowhere to be found. People have long since moved on to fresh scandals. The meltdown that once rocked their corporate circle is a footnote in local rumor history. James is content with that. By chance, James receives a forwarded link from an old coworker. It's an obscure blog post referencing an ex-marketing executive who lost everything after a scandal, trying to start anew in a small Midwest town. The coworker asks if it's Ashley. The details match someone fired for an affair, publicly humiliated father, disowning her. The post's tone is introspective, describing the shame of being recognized in a grocery store, the inability to find stable marketing work. James reads it with a level gaze, no spike in anger or pity. She's apparently living in a modest apartment, working at some local chain store, possibly finishing a part-time course to pivot careers. The final lines read something like, I'm determined to rebuild my life from scratch, accepting I was the architect of my own downfall. James closes the post. You do you, Ashley. He mentally wishes her well in a detached sense, still feeling that her fate is deserved. Christopher meets James for a casual lunch. Over burgers, Christopher reveals the last he heard of Daniel. He got out of jail for petty theft, tried drifting around. Heard rumors he's joined some shady telemarketing scam, living in a cheap motel, still wanted by certain creditors. Possibly uses a fake name now. James nods, unmoved. That's about the expected outcome. He reaps what he sowed. If he's still breathing, good for him. Not my concern. Christopher smirks, biting a fry. He might blame you forever, but he's powerless to act. The meltdown did him in. James shrugs, content with that. Daniel's story is a cautionary tale of arrogance, undone by crossing the wrong husband. Brittany messages James a screenshot. Amanda apparently reappeared on social media under a new handle, working a low-level marketing job in a smaller city with a subdued online persona. She's not harassing James or Ashley, just trying to keep her career afloat. James feels no impulse to sabotage her further. She was a secondary player, not worth more energy. He texts back to Brittany. Let her be, we're done with her. Brittany agrees. One weekend, James and Hannah drive to a coastal trail, planning a short hike among seaside cliffs. The salt-laced breeze and crashing waves create a tranquil backdrop. As they walk, Hannah senses James's thoughtful silence. She asks gently, remembering something? James half smiles. Sometimes I reflect on how drastically my life changed in the past year. I went from discovering betrayal to broadcasting it, divorcing, traveling the world, and now here I am, stable again. Hannah reaches for his hand. Life can shift so fast. The key is not letting past scars define you. I see how strong you are, how you overcame heartbreak. He stops, gazing at the horizon where ocean meets sky. I appreciate that. I'm starting to believe I can have a future beyond bitterness. She leans her head on his shoulder. You can. And you do. In the following months, James and Hannah's bond solidifies. They keep it gradual dates, deep conversations about life and trust, comedic moments cooking dinner in his condo. She's not clingy, nor is she naive about his past. They share a mutual respect for each other's boundaries. One evening, after a pleasant dinner, they find themselves curled on his couch, heads close, the city lights twinkling outside. Hannah murmurs, I know you carry wounds. I won't push you, but I like you, James. A lot. He smiles softly. I like you too, he replies, his heart surprisingly open. They kiss, a gentle, genuine intimacy, worlds apart from the forced illusions he once had with Ashley. For the first time in a long while, James feels the warmth of genuine affection instead of betrayal's sting. Ashley occasionally tries emailing James from time to time, short messages asking how he's doing or apologizing again. He either ignores them or replies with a single line, I've moved on. Please respect that. She no longer begs for forgiveness, but she expresses regret at how she ruined everything. Sometimes she hints that if they'd only talked more, none of this would have happened. James sees it as manipulative. She's rewriting history to claim lack of communication, ignoring her conscious choice to cheat. He's not interested in debates. He's had all the closure he needs. Daniel remains absent from any relevant circles. No one in their extended friend group has heard from him, except rumor of more petty crimes or scamming attempts. James is content never crossing paths with that man again. Nearly a year and a half post-meltdown, James receives a promotion at work head of applied drone testing for the Western region. He has a small team under him, and he manages it with fairness and calm authority. Co-workers admire how he overcame personal scandal without letting it derail his professionalism. Some quietly question the morality of his revenge, but none dare judge him harshly. The results speak for themselves. He's stable, respected, forging ahead. He invests in new hobbies, archery, reading up on architecture for a possible side project, designing a small cabin in the mountains. He occasionally revisits the therapy approach Dr. Fisher suggested, journaling about the lingering nightmares. Each passing month, the nightmares fade, replaced by a cautious optimism about the future. Time reveals that Hannah offers a genuine companionship James never experienced with Ashley, who was more about external appearances and corporate ambition. Hannah appreciates simple joys, shared jokes, coding synergy, weekend getaways. She knows James's history, but doesn't press him to dwell on it. Over dinners, they discuss hypothetical travel plans. She mentions maybe spending a vacation in Japan. He shares his stories from East Asia. Their synergy grows, untainted by lies. One chilly evening, while they watch a movie in his condo, Hannah turns to him, eyes earnest. "I love you, James. I know you've been hurt deeply, but I want you to know I'm all in no secrets, no betrayals." His heart stutters at the words, but he sees sincerity in her gaze. Slowly, he nods, letting an old barrier drop. "I love you too," he says quietly, a statement that signals a final release from the pain Ashley inflicted. Almost 2 years after the meltdown, James stands on his condo's balcony, sipping tea. The city stretches out below him, lights twinkling like scattered gems. He reflects on the journey, discovering Ashley's affair, orchestrating the brutal public exposure, divorcing her, reclaiming his sense of self in an overseas assignment, and now tentatively embracing real love again with Hannah. He's no longer haunted by rage or sadness. The meltdown he unleashed was thorough, and he emerges from it not as a broken man, but as someone who refused to let betrayal define him. He hears Hannah's laughter from inside their cooking dinner together, a new recipe. Setting down his tea, he steps inside, a gentle smile on his face. The last vestiges of heartbreak recede like a distant echo. He's done. Ashley and Daniel, are out there, living the consequences of their choices. He's here, living a life shaped by resilience, intelligence, and the unwavering determination to never be a victim. He joins Hannah at the kitchen counter, picking up a wooden spoon to stir a simmering sauce. She glances at him, beaming. In that moment, James knows the meltdown that destroyed his old marriage opened a path to something far more authentic. And that realization, that quiet sense of peace, is the true final chapter of his story. James stands victorious, forging a brighter tomorrow on his own terms, far removed from the shadows of adultery and revenge. Hey, listeners of Temptress Cheating Tales.